the heck did Banya thing come from? But anyway, is that it? Yeah, okay, I have thought for the day. Kind of a convoluted one as always. You know, I think learn to tell your story, know your story, inhabit your story, be proud of your story, and know that in the end, you're the hero of your own story. That's the truth of everybody here. Here's the convoluted part. Last night I had dinner with my mom. She's 86 years old, and I try to have dinner with her once a week if I'm around. I can't always pull it off. She's a character. Last week I said, I'm going to Boston. She goes, why are you going to Boston? I said, to get some award. Why are they giving you an award? Thanks, Ma. So anyway, so it reminded me of a story that some of you have heard before, but years ago, there was a homie who worked there like 16 years old, and only 3 words could describe this guy: knucklehead. And he was a knucklehead. And then, but he changed. He came here and went to school and didn't trip working with his enemies, and he, you know, and he liked sort of the person he was becoming. And this is the part a lot of you have heard before, but one day he came at the end of the day and he was telling me all the stuff he had learned at school, and again, he was inhabiting this new transformed person. And then I said to him, Dog, I gotta go because I'm having dinner with my mom. And he said, dinner with your mom, that's a good one, you know. And I said, I'm sorry, what do you mean that's a good one? And he said, well, that'd be impossible. I said, what do you mean that would be impossible? He said, well, your mom would have to be 125 years old. I said, well, okay, let me see if I got this right. You're saying my ass is so old that it's impossible for me to have a living, breathing mother. And he goes, that's right. Well, we died laughing, and you could tell that he felt so satisfied that he had yanked my chain, that he had pulled my leg, that he had gotten off a good one. He looked like a lion who had just swallowed a manhole and had the toothpick and everything, you know. So, cut to several months later, he got into a run-in with his PO. It wasn't his fault, it wasn't just the PO violated him. You know this kind of story. PO could have helped him, and instead he punished him. Reminds me of what Mary Ridgway would have in fact done. But anyway, I digress. So I hadn't seen him for several months. About 6 months later, I see him at Camp Challenger. And I'm talking to him, and I said, you know, it's funny, a month ago I was telling this story about this guy who was a knucklehead who came to Homeboy, and he's listening to me. And, you know, at the end of the day, he came and talked about how, you know, he had been in school. He's listening to me. And about how I had to go have dinner with my mom, and he starts to light up. And he said, that's impossible, and she'd have to be 125 years old. And as I'm telling this story, he's going like this, like a puppy about to be fed. And it's dawning on him that this is his story. And when we get to the end of the story, not only is it his story, he's the hero of this story. So, inhabit your story, be familiar with your story. Sometimes you don't know you have a story until you tell your story. Tell your story. And don't ever forget, you are the history of the hero of your own story. Oh.